Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 23 updates and spoilers. Happy Saturday. Thank you so much for being here. Our house guests of the day are David Klein and Shannon Young and Fabulous. I love that name. Thank you both so much for the support. We could not do this without you and we appreciate it so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. It's only $1 for a holla. Yay! And there's still time left this season and there are still house guest of the day slots left. So if you want it, come and get it. All right. And I also want to thank yesterday's super chatters before we get started, because that is also a fantastic way to support this channel and keep us doing what we're doing. So Nina Sosa, thank you again and happy belated birthday. Jody Cortez, Green Thrifty Life, Susie Jill, Billy King, Kennedy Miller, Danny, Sheena, Vajrath, and Michelle C. Thank you all so much for the super chats yesterday. And I see we got some today. Susie Jill, thank you so much. And she says, thank you, Maddie and Janet, for all your hard work. I enjoy watching all your channels. Much love. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, if you guys are new here, we have two other channels that we run. We have a vlog channel called Madrosed Vlogs, which is just like our daily lives. And then we also have a vegan channel called what's wrong with me? Our vegan channel is called Vegan as Fork. My brain is freaking fried from this season of Big Brother. I'm worried for myself. But anyway, yeah. Jody Cortez, thank you so much for the super chat. And Jody says, Tiff for America's fave puppet after show, please. I would love to see Tiffany win America's favorite house guest. As for the puppet show, I don't know what's going to happen this season. We were really hoping to get one in, but with the way that things have been going this season, there's some people that can barely handle even watching this season and still like being a human being. So we're not trying to like kick the hornet's nest right now. I don't know if it's really a good idea. I don't know if it would be appropriate. So we'll see what happens there, but I'm just saying, like, don't have your heart set on it. But anyway, thank you for the super chat. So when we left off yesterday, we're down to the final four. So we've got Xavier, Azah, Kyland, and Big D. And the table is already partially set for the week. Xavier's the HOH. Azah and Kyland are nominated. But just a reminder, nominations don't really matter this week. It all comes down to the power of veto. And if Kyland doesn't win the power of veto, Xavier wants to cut him loose. So Xavier is telling Big D that they have a better chance of making it to the final two against Azah than against Kyland. Of course. I mean, duh. But Big D seems hesitant about it. He's terrified that Azah will make it to the final two and win since there are more women on the jury. It's so annoying that he keeps assuming that. And it's also crazy that he is so resistant to bringing Azah to the final three when he would actually maybe have a chance of winning against her and not against Xavier or Kyland. It's freaking wild. But anyway, Azah knows that she is not solid with Big D at this point because he told her straight up, if he wins the power veto, he doesn't know what he would do. He might send her home. What is he thinking? Why would you say that? Why would you say that like before the power veto competition? You don't even know if you're going to have that power. It's insane. But there's also some weirdness between Big D and Kyland. Big D had asked Kyland, this was not on the feeds because this happened right before the nomination ceremony. Big D asked Kyland if he would still take him to the end. And Kyland was like, I don't want to answer that because I'm in a vulnerable position right now. I'm about to go up on the block. We haven't played the power veto yet. Yikes. I mean, that's yikes on both ends. Yikes for Big D asking that and yikes for Kyland's answer. Why wouldn't you just say yes? Have these people not watched this before? Just say yes until it's time to say no. But anyway, Xavier told Big D, you need to stop talking so much about the power veto with Azah and Kyland until after we actually have the competition because you're being really sloppy right now. So yesterday afternoon, Big D checks in with Kyland, and Big D just keeps making the situation worse. I feel like he's gotten to coast this whole entire season, and now that he doesn't have the cookout working to protect all of the cookout. You know, they're all on their own now. He's falling apart because he's actually got to like play for himself and it's not going great. So Big D says to Kyland, I've been trying to give you space. And Kyland says, I don't know another way to tell you it's fine. Like, you're fine. Don't worry about it. And Big D says, I feel like the number one person that I trust, I hurt their feelings. And I feel like shit because you trusted me and now you don't, because I asked you that question when you were vulnerable. And Kyland says, I understand where you're coming from. I don't hold on to things that way, though. Sure. So Big D says, I don't want you to think that I'm selfish or trying to game you. He says all of our games are really in each other's hands until someone wins power veto. You know, right now, I think just like the waiting to know who's going to hold this power is driving Big D insane. And he just keeps talking and talking and talking, and it's not good. So yeah, he says, I've been trying to keep Azah calm and set her up to know that if I win the power veto, I'm going to send her home. So Big D says, my mindset has always been the Holy BB to the final three. And just a reminder, the Holy BB is the Guys Alliance. Big D, Xavier, and Kyland. Stop talking! So now you're telling Kyland as well that you want to keep him around. This is so messy. So messy. But I have to say, Kyland did not have much to say during this conversation, which is very unusual for him. And that tells me that he really is freaking out if he's not talking. Yikes. All right, later. Big D was talking to Azah in the yacht club bedroom. And Azah says, I feel like if I don't win this power veto, I'm going to go home. And Big D says, you're not going to go home if I win, for sure. And Azah says, you know, the same for me. You know, I'm not going to send you home either. So Big D says, the problem is that damn Kyland. He says, I'm not as close to him now as I used to be. I messed it up. And he says, that's good for you and bad for me. He says it's an open door for you to make a deal and get to the final three if Kyland wins the power veto. So then Big D is saying, I made relationships, and because of those relationships, I saw myself in that final three, and now I don't see it anymore. It sucks. Oh my God. He's out of control. Out of control. He says, I've come to the realization that I could be going to jury, and I just have to be ready for that. And he says, I'm tired of waiting. You just got to go for that veto and pray for the best at this point. So then a few minutes later, Big D is talking to Xavier, and Big D says, X, I'm losing it. I'm falling apart. I am deteriorating. He says, I see my game literally gone. I put in so much work. What work? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. What work has Big D put in? So Xavier's like, you got to stop talking. I don't know what's going on with you this week. You got caught up this week talking way too much game. You're saying and doing things that you don't have to do. I don't know why you're doing it, but you don't have to. And Big D says, I had it set up perfectly. I knew that you were going to win HOH. And then I knew that no matter what, one of those two, meaning Kyland and Azah, were going to take me to the final three. And now I don't know what the F either of them would do. Xavier says, sometimes it's better in this game not to talk. So Big D says, I'm so mad at myself. I put in so much work, and now it comes down to like this POV. What work? Out of control. So Big D continues to spiral. It's hilarious too, because I feel like Kyland and Azah would still probably like pick Big D because he hasn't done anything. But Xavier keeps telling Big D, stop having game conversations until after the power veto. All right. So then Xavier and Azah, they got to watch an episode of CSI Las Vegas. This was from the HOH competition, which was a tie-in to CSI. And while they were doing that, Kyland and Big D were chatting. More talk about the question. I'm talking about Big D asking Kylan, like, would you still take me to the final two, blah, blah, blah. And Big D is saying, I shouldn't have questioned you when you have not given me a reason to. That was my bad. I'm sorry about that. So whatever. They talk about that for a bit. And then we get the good stuff. Kylan says, I have much more concern about what Xavier would do with the power veto than what you would do. Kylan says, I can't be mad at X if he cuts me. Knowing his family situation with his brother passing and Xavier wants to win the money to help his nephew. Kylan says, without me here, Xavier has an 80 to 90% chance of winning the final 3 HOH. But with me here, it's like a 50-50 chance. Oh my God, he's saying this right to Big D's face. Like, hello, you suck as a competitor. That's freaking wild. But Kylan says that is terrifying to me because Xavier hasn't really had to show his cards yet. So he's not really sure what X would do. And I think he'd feel like a real dum-dum after using the power veto on Xavier during the double eviction. But Kylan says, I have no concerns about you, Big D. I believe that you would take me to the final 3. Not if X tells him to take Asa. But Kylan says, we haven't really formed anything with Xavier. That's a lie. So Kylan brings up how he has told everyone in the jury house so far that he wants to go to the end with the people who've done the most to get here, who've worked the hardest for the cookout to get them to the final 6, which is such BS, because if that were actually true, his first targets would have been Big D and Asa, not Tiffany and Hannah. Ridiculous. But Kylan says Xavier has not said anything like that to a single person. He hasn't said he wants to go to the end with the strongest players. So if he cuts me at Final 4, no one's going to look at it badly. It's not going to reflect poorly on Xavier. But if it was reversed and I was safe this week and was able to make a decision, I would have to be locked in to keeping you and Xavier, because if I didn't, the jury would say that I was lying this whole time. I mean, I think you have been lying about your reasons, or else you would not be keeping Big D and Asa around. Okay. So anyway, Kai says again that he's terrified of Xavier winning the power veto. So later, Kylan and Xavier chat in the HOH room, and they're talking about the situation with Big D, the question, and Xavier is saying Big D does not need to be having these conversations before the power veto. He's doing the most. So Xavier says, worst case scenario, Asa wins the power veto. But besides that, we're there with it. It's the 3 guys in the end. Woo! Now, we know Xavier does not really mean that because he wants Kylan to go. But Kylan says, yeah, I was just talking to Big D, and he said that he would prefer if you or I win the power veto that I come down off the block so that Big D won't have to be the one to cut Asa. Oh my God. So Kylan says, I don't mind cutting Asa because I have no arrangement with her for the end game here. So Xavier's like, he says, if I use the power of veto, then that would make Asa feel like she's on an island. Asa would be pissed at him going into the jury. Also, Xavier wants Kylan out this week. So Xavier says, I already told Asa that I would leave the nominations the same, so I don't really know that I would be able to go back on that. So Kylan's like, well, what would it matter? Like, if she's leaving anyway, like, what does it matter who's the one voting for her to go, blah, blah, blah. Kylan says, I'm wondering if there could be a conversation about it. So Xavier says, I'll think on it. But Kylan is hoping that he'll win the power veto anyway, so it won't matter. You know, he can just take himself off the block. Okay, so after this conversation, Xavier's alone. He's talking to the cameras. He's pacing around. I can't even imagine how many steps he's gotten in the last few weeks with all this pacing he's been doing. But he tells the camera, like, Big D, what the hell are you doing, man? He says he needs to stop. Oh, wait, he needs to stop talking. Xavier says, Big D is making this so much more difficult for me. He's being really messy right now. He's pissed that Big D is flip-flopping because he doesn't want to get any dirt on his hands. He doesn't want to be the one to send out Asa. So it's getting to the point where he's like, yeah, Kylan should come off the block and he'll do it. So Xavier is not happy about that. But today, nothing really going on. The house guests have been waiting around for the Power Veto competition, and the feeds are down now for it. So if you guys want to check back later, I'm not sure what this competition is going to be, but it is very, very important. So I'm curious to see who's going to win this one. Ah! Let me know in the comments who you guys are rooting for in this Power Veto competition. Are you all right?
No, I stepped on Bowie.
Oh my God. Is he okay?
Yeah.
Okay. You never like to hear a scream like that.
Huh?
I said you never like to hear a scream like that.
It wasn't because I got hurt.
Hi!
He was in the dark.
It seems like he's okay.
I know, but he went,
Oh, Bowie, what happened?
oh,
Bowie.
I'm sorry.
Poor baby. It's okay. He's
I'm
like, I don't know why
sorry.
you're freaking out. I'm fine. Oh.
I'm sorry, buddy.
All right. So I want to thank today's super chatters. That was a real moment.
Yeah, well, I
It's
hope
okay.
He's gonna be okay.
He seems fine. Bubble.
You know how I love these babies.
Of course. All right. So I want to thank our super chatters. Susie Jill, thank you so much. Jody Cortez, thank you so much. Michelle C, thank you so much. And she says, I've watched you so many years and always wondered, what is Madrosed? I'm probably too old, lol. You're not too old. It's a very weird, unique name. So we actually started this channel when I was still in high school, and this name was inspired by Melrose, who was a contestant on America's Next Top Model a million years ago. And my name is Madeline Rose D. So we made up the screen name Mad Rose D, like Melrose, Mad Rose. And that's what we went with. So, oh, Bo, that's where that comes from.
He said plop.
He's a plopper. Thank you so much for the super chat. MJ, thank you so much for the super chat. Oh, very generous. Thank you so much. Don MH302, thank you so much for the super chat. Bailey, is it almost? Thank you so much for the super chat. And Bailey says, thanks so much for all the hard work. Y'all make my BB season. I started watching Drag Race because of you two, favorite queens. Oh my God, that's awesome. We are actually currently watching season 11 right now. We're getting towards the end of that. But we love Drag Race so much. I guess our favorite queens, Jinx Monsoon, Alaska, Bianca.
The very first winner.
BB. Yeah, BB. Love BB. We have so many favorites. It's hard to pick just a few.
It's probably easier to name the people that we're not a fan of,
but we won't do that.
We won't.
I love the last winner, Simone. Gorgeous. Simone. So much personality. It's hard to think of faves off the top of my head because there are just so many that I've loved. But yeah. Thank you so much again. Jefferson Tucker, thank you so much as always. You were awesome. Traval K, thank you so much. And Traval K says, you're awesome. Finally able to catch you live after
IDA.
Oh, what's IDA?
I don't know.
Travel K, what's IDA? Thank you so much again. Debbie Prishgoda, thank you so much for the super chat. And she says, let's go X. Thanks for the updates when I don't have the heart to watch the feeds. Much love. I gotta tell you, every once in a while, it's tough to watch those feeds for sure. Especially when they're really dragging. Oh, Hurricane Ida. That makes sense. Okay. I hope you're doing okay after that and you're safe and no damage. But thank you. And thank you to Debbie again. And I see we've got Rick Fountain. Thank you so much. Let me get you on here. Let's see. Okay. I think he's okay. Bobby. Rick, thank you so much. He says big deterioration. Making the feeds interesting. I mean, he has been carrying the feeds the last few days with his nonsense.
He's imploding.
Yeah, he is imploding right now. I mean, I'm enjoying watching it. Yeah. We need some entertainment, right? We need something going on. Allison asks, who has been studying the days? That's a good question. I mean, they've all been studying. They've all been putting in the work. trying to think of who has the best handle on it.
Probably the boys.
I would guess Kylan and Xavier. I like, honestly, whenever people are studying, I tune out because that is not interesting to me. I don't need to hear it. So honestly, I'm not sure who has the best grasp on it. I know definitely Big D is probably like the slowest answering those questions out of everybody. And he admitted that himself. But yeah, they've all been studying, so we'll see what happens there. Will I do Survivor this year? We're going to be watching Survivor for sure, and we're very excited for it to come back, but we're not going to be doing recap videos of it because we need a break. And we haven't been covering Survivor the last few years, but we're always watching it.
We'll probably talk about it.
I'm sure we'll talk about it here and there.
Live or
Yeah, because once Big Brother's over, we're going to be bringing back our Thursday night live streams where we'll definitely be talking about Big Brother if you guys want to talk about, or not Big Brother, Survivor if you guys want to talk about that. But
and of course, Drag Race.
Oh yeah, of course. We got to catch up on that. But
and Housewives.
Yes. All of those things. But anyway, I want to thank you all so much for being here. We will see you tomorrow. And remember, if you want to find out who won the Power Veto, check back here. I will post the winner when we know who it is. So it's exciting. So until tomorrow, much love. Thanks again, everybody. Bye.